Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for your attendance at the February County Council meeting. Just let it be known as far as attendance, Council Member Pam Perger is on, I think on her way. She knew, and we knew she was gonna be late tonight, so hopefully she'll be slipping in. Has the council had an opportunity to review minutes from our January 9th meeting?
I saw no corrections that were needed. I would recommend that we move forward with accepting those minutes.
Okay, motion from Ray.
I'll second.
Second, any other additional corrections, changes, suggestions for deletions? Okay, all those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Okay, the minutes of the January 9th meeting. We've got several guests in the room today, and our first one up on the agenda in order is Laura Pickle from our Sheriff's Department.
Hello. So first, I was brought the commissary summary to give to everyone. So the reason I'm here today is to request a transfer from the Coombe Jail Axon contract into a new line item for reassurance solutions. So last year we paid off a big portion of our TASER contract, so we only have one left. So what we were hoping to do is move $19,300 into reassurance solutions, which if anyone came to the jail open house is the money needed to pay for the medical scan systems inside of those medical padded rooms. So it's an O2 sensor, heart rate sensor that is in every single padded cell. Doesn't take over for the officers still doing their checks, but it is just another line of reassurance for us as far as trying to keep those people safe in those rooms. And that does not cover the entire, it does not cover the entirety of the bill. The remaining portion of the bill, we're gonna pay out of commissary.
Lord, I'm sorry. Did you say it picks up on the heartbeat inside the cell?
Yeah, it's an O2 sensor and everything. It's a laser that monitors the inmate that's inside of that particular cell for heart rate and O2. So while they're sleeping or anything else, it keeps that constant sensor, and then it alerts the staff if for some reason during that 15-minute break period, there's a medical emergency. So that's what I'm asking for. Any other
Any questions for Laura? And also questions, obviously, we appreciate the update on the commissary. I know it's review. We did all this right now. I know we'll be anxious to read it. But curious, is there anything specific that we should be looking for as far as trends, anything,
Not
no
that I-
problems?
Not that I am aware of. Any other questions?
We're okay with the taser situation now, or?
Yes, so we have one payment left on our tasers and then they'll be completely paid off. We already purchased and implemented the Axon body cameras, which is a completely different contractual line item. So it's completely separate from the two, which is why there's extra money in that contract because we paid it off last year.
All right. Any, just over all in general regarding the Sheriff's Department jail, anything else you'd like to get a chance to share? As far as obviously transition.
There's a lot happening at the jail. So obviously, like I said, we just implemented those body cameras, both road and jail have them. So that just up and started at the end of January. So those are up and functioning on both sides. We just started the GED program back at the new facility. We also restarted religious practices. We still have our 24-hour a day medical care, and we implemented the mental health, the daily mental health.
I do have questions. Have the court system, are they able, do we have to transport all the prisoners down to the courthouse, or are they able to do any on site at the jail site?
We do the same thing that we were doing previously. So if it was something that was virtual previously, it is still virtual. So if it was a Zoom initial hearing, it's still happening via Zoom. That was happening at the old facility as well. That didn't change. Any of the in-person stuff has to be transported, and it is all transported from uptown to downtown.
So about how many trips are we looking at a month? I know that would vary, but
Well, we take trips every single day with inmates.
Okay.
So the number is what varies. It's not necessarily the trips. Like, for example, Tuesdays are usually very busy days. And there could be anywhere between 9 and 15 to 20 inmates going up and down the hill.
so would there be an area that, now that you're getting in there and getting settled, is there an area up there that could be used as to hold court?
We talked about that. We reviewed it with the judges, and at this time, there's no space inside of the facility that can be used appropriately to manage any of our court hearings. It has to do with access from the public and in and out for the judges and the staff. The attorneys have to have the ability to meet with their clients. There's a lot of factors. So according to the courthouse and everything that we've spoken about, there is not currently a solution to that.
Did we have discussions about that, council?
Numerous.
And was we not told that they were going to try to make compensations for that? Okay, thank you.
One last question. What's our head count?
I'm sorry,
What's our head count?
in the jail or inmates?
Yeah.
Officers?
No, inmates.
We average anywhere between 145 and about 152.
And we have everybody pulled back in that can come back in. I know there's some we can bring. But
Yeah,
Do we have any from other counties?
we do know.
I had
We-
a question this week. Somebody asked, when are we going to start making money on housing and rates? I said, they just moved in. Let's give them just a little time to get settled in.
I think the real answer to that question is that we need to make sure that everything is up and functioning and we can handle our own board before we implement adding other people. So until we're sure that we can manage it with our staff, there's no reason to overflow our staff with more inmates.
It'd be interesting to see the first quarter comparison, from 23 to this year, obviously what we were having to expend out to houses and inmates and 2 to 3 other facilities. That means, yeah.
And all of the inmates that could be brought back to the county got brought back within about a week of us moving into the facility. So,
Great. Thank you. We'll kind of bump down, we've got it later down on the agenda, we'll handle all the transfers and additional solutions. We have a problem with that transfer. If you don't. Next day, I need to leave, it's totally okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Devin? Sure, with our chief public defender is
Yeah.
on the agenda.
I don't have a lot to talk about. The reason why I'm here, though, is there is a supplemental public defender fund that frankly I didn't know about. And those funds can only be used for very specific reasons. And that's the reason why there's a large balance in that account, because it's rare that there's a circumstance that comes up where those funds can be tapped into. But the reason why I'm on the agenda is I wasn't in a position to access those funds without going through and budgeting those and having the ability to do that, and that's what I'm doing now. Any use of the funds in that account would require court approval. And the examples from the state level are very severe when they would come up. I think the best example that we were the closest to probably having the use of those funds was the biker gang situation. Since only one of those cases went to trial and the rest of them were resolved with a plea agreement, that changed that. But there was a chance there. That would have been a circumstance that I think those funds could have been tapped into for fees or experts, doctors, different things like that. It's more of an emergency fund for public defender expenses. And those funds come from when folks pay their public defender fee when the court orders it. So the fund's kind of a backstop for the courts and the public defender's office to make sure if something goes really crazy, we've got access to some funds. Hopefully we never have to use it. So that's why I'm here. I guess since I am here, I will compliment the sheriff's department. I interact with them daily. And access for getting in and seeing people has been great. Access in the courthouse has been great. I've honestly not had any issues with having folks at hearings and resolve cases fairly quickly with the way that they've been transporting. I know it's difficult on them, but haven't seen much of a difference. Maybe I think it may be better, which is weird, but I've had better access, I think, so. Any questions on the fund, I guess?
Would brag on Devin. Also, we just had a public defender board meeting and a couple of notes I had jotted down from that I want to make sure and share with council. We're at, about almost $300,000 this far back in reimbursement, but down 1.5 contracts since Devin took over. So obviously he's efficient with assigning those caseloads, and the caseloads are good. People are staying within their contractual allotment. Obviously, good work with attorneys, and he works so well with the judges, but I know I jotted down as well, the fact we have a little better idea on expenses. I haven't separated this budget out a little bit now, but then I jotted down that we're about $10,000 under the appropriate amount without even having to touch the reimbursed line items. So the additional, I guess if anybody has questions, we had down 7,500 for proper counsel, 4,000 for training and seminars, 5,000 for the guardian,
Guardian ad litem.
Yes, thank you, and 5,000 for equipment. Is there anything specific under those lines you need to tell us, or questions from council?
No, I use that, frankly, I just contacted another county and said, how did you do a quick budget for this? And that's what they've always submitted. They've been submitting that for years. I don't expect to use it at all, but I figured if I could put some numbers with it, that would be that's what it could be used for with court approval. So obviously if it gets touched, it'd probably be much larger amounts than that, but hopefully we don't have to use it.
And then now we will just include that in our normal yearly budgeting, so then he wouldn't have to come request additional, so we'll see and spend all, or whatever.
Any additional questions for Kevin? Thank you.
Appreciate
it.
Thank you.
And I do have to run. I've got a girls' 8 more meeting, so. Guys, have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Is Jason here? I do not see Jason. Jason, he may not have been there. I know Heather's gonna give us a quick explanation, just a small error, but an additional appropriation from Jason Craney from Court Services.
So, after the first payroll of the year, it came to our attention that there was a probation officer that, met the 20 years of service, and their payroll is controlled by state statute, and there is a minimum, pay, and it bumps up after 20 years of service, and this employee has met that window. So the additional amount of salary would be $6,867. And I expressed that it is important that we, have those years of service in calculation during budget time, but this is one of those situations where it was left off, and by statute, we do have to pay it, so this is just the formality of it.
And I know I was thrown a little bit for a loop because originally in his appropriation request, it had the staff member's entire salary listed, which obviously didn't make sense to me coming from County General. That was just a small error in his part in filling that out. So obviously just the difference of the 6,867 is what would be requested as a new appropriation. so that we can meet that requirement for the 20 years of service line item. So not the entire salary, just the difference. Any questions for Heather regarding, that information Jason was gonna share with us? Nice. Okay, well, that's on our quick cheat sheet. We'll get to that when we vote on appropriations for and additionals and transfers. So let's go ahead. Britt, you are next on our list, Britt Copeland with County Extension.
Hello, I just have a very brief thing, but before I do that, I wanted to pass out our annual report. We had our annual meeting recently, kind of celebrating all of our work in the past year, and so we kind of tidied it all up in that one report. It was a great year for extension. We had one of our longtime employees, Bess Adams, retire after 20 years. So we are actively hiring for that position. The reason I'm here today is about the program assistant and the secretary's appropriations. Casey is our secretary or our office manager, and she has also been working here for 20 years. And over those 20 years, the two positions have changed a lot. A lot of that has to deal with the technology and all the minor safety that we have to do, and she does a lot of managing that. And because she is a valued employee and she will be the senior individual when we hire a new staff member, I was hoping to switch our appropriations for those two salaries so that she would be the higher paid individual because of that, because of her value to extension and, the tech skills and just the experience that she brings to the position. So I didn't know exactly how that would look, because it's not exactly asking for more money, it's just switching those two items.
So I actually thought of just changing the names from one line to the other with your permission. If that allows. But they are unique lines that are not used throughout, other offices.
That's for us in regards to the salary ordinance.
Right.
That's your one.
Do you need that in the form of a
I would
motion?
like it in a form of a motion before I just
I'll
start
make
changing
that.
names.
I'll make that motion. That we allow her to make the change.
So Ray's made a motion to change the names of the two line items to better reflect the two office positions for extension office and their duties. Recognizing no longer length of service in the head office staff member, higher the two salaries. Ray seconded. Any questions for Britt? Okay, all those in favor of approval for that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Any additional questions for Brett? Thank you for the summary.
Yeah, thank you. At the very last of that annual summary, I'll plug this because they make me plug it at every program I do. It's a broadband flyer that kind of neatly summarizes the broadband stuff going on. And the FCC is looking at the map in February to disperse those $870 million to bring broadband to our county. So if you interact with any people, especially in our rural area, that haven't logged their address on that map, it's really important that they do that and that they run at least 3 speed tests so that data is accurate. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Ryan?
Hey.
Speaking of broadband,
Excuse me, sorry.
speaking of broadband.
Yeah, speaking of broadband, we'll build right on that. So I'm here on behalf of the Jefferson County Broadband Task Force. We've been operating the last couple of years, kind of an ad hoc, no budget. And we decided, we're gonna keep operating. We'd like to have a budget just for planning. Things like awareness and outreach for the speed tests, the challenges we can do, the ICP signups. We're asking for $1,000. I think it's plenty. Up till now, we've just, we need something printed. We've gone around the courthouse and got people to take it out of their budgets and things. So we'd like to just have our own budget to operate with going forward.
So initially when we did the ARPA plan, a portion of the money was set aside and that appropriation has actually, went back, it was because we've crossed fiscal years. So that money is no longer appropriated, so I told them if the commissioners had suggested using a portion of that ARPA money for that, that we actually make a line item within ARPA for the $1,000 to assist that office. And that board.
Obviously, we do not have that. And that's not on there, that wouldn't be included in the resolution. would it? It is?
Yeah.
I apologize. Suspension change. Oh, yes, sorry. Oh, my eyes were just missing that. Okay. So any questions for Brian or Heather?
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty easy.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
Appreciate it.
here. Yeah. We hear the words broadband and high-speed internet and better coverage, and everybody gets really, really excited, especially those in the stuff. I'm not in the boondocks, quite like stuff over here, but
Yeah,
I
I
don't
have
have.
tried every.
Internet, I could work from home if I wanted to.
That's them all.
Yeah, currently we are T-Mobile, and it's actually working better, but it's cell internet basically. But it is better than satellite options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Penguin got one.
We want to obviously go through our, voting for all transfers and additionals, but we also have a board appointments. We had touched on this last month, and, no one really had reached out with any significant, requests or changes for these. And we do need to actually, I know as council president, I think I have to sign this, but obviously we want to make sure everybody's on the same page for those county appointments. So the community corrections, is currently, Ray Jennings. Ray, we're still okay to stay on the community corrections board. And public defender board, I do have 1 year left on that term, so I am happy to finish out that term for the public defender board. The Visit Madison is currently Gary Copeland. Gary, you said you were still okay to stay on that board as well. The insurance, that's obviously employee insurance board. Chris Shelton has been on that board, the employee health insurance, and you're still good to stay there as well. The Southeast Regional Plan Commission, that is, Judy Smith, past long-term, council member who is still willing to serve in that role, on that, Regional Plan Commission. So unless someone else.
I think she was wanting to step back.
Yes, she did.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the way I read that, too.
It's coming back to me.
Yes, so she served for an additional year after,
Yes, thank you. I
Being off
completely
of
forgot that. I didn't bring that note sheet with me. I
And
do remember that
she-
now.
she was wanting to
Because
step.
we also discussed timing of that, and I know Ray, I think, yes, was gonna, the additional, was it the city appointed,
No, I think
Commissioners?
Brian also serves on that board,
is the
so.
commissioner's appointment? Because there is is there a third? It looks like there's county council representative commissioners and then just says municipal, so
So I bet there's probably a.
okay. So Ray, you feel, I think they only met quarterly, often over lunch, you're still okay to?
Yep.
Okay, all right. You want to text Judy and tell her the good news, or I mean, that she's off the hook?
I bet she will know by this evening.
She probably
typically
will, she
keeps
might
up
be
with us.
watching it, hi Judy. And the EMA board is Dwayne, and Dwayne is, yep, awesome. EMA separate from the 911 board, which is Ray Black, The Plan Commission is currently red black also, that's you're saying that's still okay. And then the last one listed is the Southern Indiana Soil and Water.
That's me.
That is Pam. Thank you. I see that. She's here. Okay. Any others that should be added to this appointment list? All right, I will officially. Wow, must be thinking this has to be notarized. I'll let you pass that back over to Heather. Okay, so let's go ahead and move back into our transfers and additionals. So the first was regarding the sheriff's department and what Pickle explained to us from Fund 1142, the Exxon contract transfer of the 19,300, moving that to cover the reassurance solutions, the medical support equipment. So do we have a motion for that
I'll make
transfer?
that motion.
Okay, Ray Black,
I'll second it.
seconded by Gary. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. And the extension, minor change that, actually, we already
We already
voted on that.
voted.
We did, yeah, that's just reflecting the secretary's rate and the program assistant rate and making that switch, perfect. It is probably the easiest, adjustment there. The additional would be, reflecting, 1200, and I think the public defender,
Supplemental.
yes, and that's a supplemental, I would say, that budget's like 024 maybe.
His county general.
Yes,
fund.
this county general fund, so
This
those are
is
the supplemental.
Yes.
As stated earlier, the 7,500 all for council, 4,000 training and seminars, 5,000, the guardian, ad
item.
I can never say that word right, thank you, and the 5,000 for equipment, that, Chief Public Defender Devin Sharp, summarized for us earlier. So we need, a motion to approve these 4 items.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Chris Shelton.
I'll second.
Second by Dwayne, any discussion here? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? All right. The next, small one here, this is that, fund, 1,000, the 114.50.00000.0235, that's the deputy probation officer. Staff member who reads that statutory pay increase based on 20+ years of service. The difference in that to cover would be $6,867.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Ray Black made a motion,
I'll second it.
heard that, second by Gary. Any discussion, questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Very small line item of $1,000 even, what is being asked to be at disposal to be used to support the broadband advertising. Just presented to us, and that fund number is 9112.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Pam Crozier, second by Ray Black. Questions, concerns? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? Okay. And motion is unanimous. So the total amount for the resolution, which would be in total 29,367. This is resolution for calendar year 2024, resolution number 5. This includes the additional 1,000 from the ARP funding, the supplemental public defender in total, which was the 21.5, and then the additional to make up for the staff member change of the 6,867. So that total again is 29,367. If we can have a motion just to approve that resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Dwayne, second.
I'll second
Thank you, Ray Black. All those in favor?
it. Aye.
Easy enough, those opposed? All right, so we do have, before we get into any public comment, before we wrap up, we do have something that needs to be addressed this evening regarding temporary loan regarding county highway funds. Heather Huff is going to share the information with us.
Okay, to be able to operate, we must remain in a positive manner. And we did have a situation where I have noticed there are two funds that have hit a negative number, and that is due to anticipated amounts coming in. So, just like we do for county general or for reassessment, I thought at this point it would be best to go ahead and issue a loan from another fund that they have out at the highway garage to, supplement this, and it will be paid back by the end of the year, if not before. There's a couple different factors in why this might have been negative. There were a couple big projects that were done that we've been waiting on reimbursement for that just have not came in. But the budgets, or these two funds in particular, were also funds that, when the financial advisor was here, he advised that we may need to be looking at different options, funding and or budgeting in these funds. I'm working with Bobby Phillips and the commissioners to hopefully set up a meeting and possibly bring Jeff Peters and the financial advisor to look at these funds and give us some different ideas. But as of right now, the most important part is to make sure that these funds are not negative. And so I am recommending that we do a $400,000 loan from Fund 1169, which is local road and streets. That fund is actually funded by state revenue, just like MVH and the MVH restricted. We would be putting $300,000 of that in Fund 1176. And $100,000 in Fund 1173. At this moment, right now, 1176 had a balance of negative $44,692 and 1173 of negative $27,194. Like I said, it's budgeted on their full amount, but they only receive it monthly. So that's why they are needing a loan to keep a positive balance.
I like this suggested amount, will help those folks,
And hopefully our reimbursement from some disasters come in, and then that will be alleviated sooner than the end of the year.
And I know Bobby's not here this evening, unless I'm right, given by Heather, any questions that Heather might be able to answer? And that would be a different resolution number, for the loan, the transfer funds. As stated, that would be, the suggested amount of 300,000, from 1169 to 1176, and 100,000 from 1169 to 1173. That's the one that's
So-
restricted.
So this might be, so Fund 1170 or 1169, the one that we will actually be borrowing from, has a budget of $500,000 in it. Currently, it has a balance of 1.3 million, and they are estimated to receive at least $500,000 worth of revenue this year. So that's why this fund was selected as the fund loan to help this problem out.
And this is basically to maintain normal work orders and mechanical situations that arise.
Right, to keep everything, this is so that we can continue with normal operations.
Normal operations.
Yes.
But obviously, having a plan in place so that this doesn't happen again. Yeah, knowing that, moving forward, I'm sure. Some of this discussion, yeah, and probably decide if any projects need to either be put on hold or something taken to look at rather than coming out, this expense is going out. The importance. Okay. So we would need a motion, and then obviously an approval for the resolution number 6, which is the, temporary loan, transfer funds, $400,000 in total.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ray Denning. Ray, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Gary. All those in favor of approval for this, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. I'm going to send around this resolution number 6 for signature. Okay. Thank you, Heather. I
do also have some positive information if I can find my sticky note about it. I want to thank everyone that's purchased a trash card. I just happened to look through today because we've had several taxpayers come in and say, how long have you had to buy trash cards? I have never bought one before. So that made me want to do a little bit of research. And as of today, in 2023, we had sold 1,444 trash cards in February of 2023. And we have sold 1,522 trash cards as of today. So, the trash truck drivers are doing their job and they are making this program a success. I want to thank them.
Awesome, very good.
Thank you. All right, opportunity for, any public comments? Lively audience. Dave, any important info you want to share with us? Fairly swift meeting we're about to come back.
I mean, we went through, 7 applicants we had interviews for 7 applicants for the 911 director's role. And then we'll meet on the following Monday to move forward. They have received over, 50 applications for dispatchers positions.
50 applications. Wow.
They had interviews, I think some were yesterday. I don't know if all of them were yesterday. Some were yesterday, and they're looking to hire 3 for sure, maybe 4 already. So they went through and Matt and Brandon had kind of gone through and selected the top 10 and then the next 10 and then the others. And so they want to see if those first 10, how those worked out or who worked out, and then had another group to go. So good thing there.
Awesome.
Went to the IEDC was here last, I think it's been reported, but last Tuesday, so we got a chance to talk about the Ready 2 projects that we put forward. Campground at Jefferson Proving Ground, the new animal shelter, and then Rikers Ridge Sewer District rehab or might be help. So those are the 3 that we put in. So that was a good time to just meet folks and found out when the RDA puts in their application, they don't necessarily have to pick specific projects in their application. They have one that helps one of the objectives they're trying that might get mentioned, but it's not necessary that. So what I'm saying is they don't necessarily have to have an absolute hard and fast list when they turn in their application, which is, Friday. So good to know that you still have wiggle room to get into some of these.
So you guys haven't decided on who's gonna be the 911 director yet?
No, like I said, we just did the interviews
Okay.
last night,
Okay.
and we're gonna pick on Monday, and then they'll go to the commissioners with their recommendation.
Okay.
Final approval by the commissioner's recommendation from the board. All right. Anything else? We, next meeting is the second Tuesday in March. Just need a motion for, dismissal, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hey, all those in favor, and everybody usually just says aye to that one. All right.